In this video, we are going to build a base project that we can use sort of as a template for future ones that deal with Calcite. We're going to focus on Calcite. It's going to be a two-part video series. The first part is going to be the Calcite setup, and the second part will be the JavaScript API, or what they now call the Maps SDK for JavaScript from ArcGIS. Just going to do a simple home button demo, but we won't get there till the second video. This is just basic project setup in the beginning. So I'm in an empty folder, but you might notice, well, Rob, I see a folder there. Yes, so I got a little documentation folder there, just to keep me on track. Right click preview if you want to see it in fancy formatting, and that just a markdown file. Just some installs we have to do. We have to throw Calcite components in to get IntelliSense to work. We got to throw something into the .vs Code workspace settings file. In that, we're definitely going to need some links in to the CDN. So that our index, when we run our index page, the browser knows where to get the components. We'll also do a little bit of rip and tear, delete out stuff that we don't need from the boilerplate code, and we do have some snippets that we'll be dropping in here. So, as they say, let's get started. And so open up a new terminal, and we will always check for Node first. Do I have Node? I do. Good. We can begin. So npm create, which is different because usually we say install vite at latest, and this is the probably most important part. Space dot. I go space dot space. So that it creates the project in this folder, but doesn't create like a subfolder. It just does it right where it's supposed to, in that. Because I want to do most of this work inside VS Code. So it's going to complain, hey, there's some files here. Do you want to get rid of them? No. Just ignore them. Vanilla's good. Drop down arrow to get to JavaScript. All good. npm install. And we will get that happening. Now, this is usually kind of quick. Yeah, it's good. We like quick here. It's awesome. And so now we want to start putting some stuff into place so that we can do some Calcite stuff. And so a big thing there is gonna need the components installed for this next IntelliSense trick to actually work in that. So we'll install these components, and then we'll bring in this folder from the snippets in that. So we will, in this case, I'm going to do another install. And, oh, I guess I need npm in front of that. That would be very important. And we're going to install, I'm going to make this smaller right now. Just get a little bit more screen real estate. So at ESRI Calcite hyphen components. Now we can go at latest. There's a next. If we don't say at latest, I think we get latest anyway. Now this is the thing. You could technically use Calcite on its own in that. So what we'll do here, and so say that was our purpose, we're not going to be using the Maps SDK JavaScript. We just want to use the cool components in Calcite. But we want IntelliSense to work. We'll install it as a developmental or a dev dependency. So hyphen save hyphen dev. And so what it means is, hey, like while I'm writing code, I need it. But if we ever like bundle this up and throw it on a web server, we don't need these components in there. They're going to be coming from a CDN, which I have to remember to put in as well. So we will go enter. This can be a little bit of a hit because of load dash. In that, there's our friend load dash. In that, and so something we're going to be doing is dropping some files in. So while this is happening in the background, we're going to need this .vs Code directory. It just has a settings file in it that has the magic to hook into the IntelliSense, our custom favicon, and this view config.js file. That file is going to actually tell Vite to automatically open a tab in the browser, which is kind of what we want. So while I was talking, right, a bunch of stuff got installed, so we're happy. So what I'm going to do, a quick way is, I'm going to be working in here. So right click on this and go reveal and explorer, and I get a browser, Explorer file manager open in that area. I had to go down one level in that. So what I'm going to basically do is bring in a couple. How many things am I going to bring in? Well, I'm going to bring in Vite and VS Code, .VS Code folder. I'll right click. There's a paste button right here, so we'll use that. Are they in place? There's my Vite config, and I need my little war SVG. We will copy that, and then we'll go down in the public, and then we will paste that in. Now, are we ready? Well, we kind of are, just so you know. I probably should have demoed this. Yes. Well, let's get in here into index.html. Now, because I installed the Calcite components and I put this magic file in here, really it's this settings here, it knows where to go look for like IntelliSense prompts. So what does that give us, right? I'm not going to need this app div. What that gives us is when we go angle bracket C, Calcite, we get all of the Calcite components available. If we didn't have that in place, the list would be empty in that. So not a lot of fun in that. Hey, let's do this. We'll take this out. Control X. There, it's gone. Okay, in that. What would happen? Nothing. Doesn't know what to do in that. So Control Z, we'll put that back in place, and we get our IntelliSense back. Again, you do need the components installed. So again, there, we have our Calcite stuff showing up. Now, before we get deep into the Calcite, is it rip and tear time? Maybe. Let's start getting rid of stuff we don't need. So don't need counter.js. It can go. Delete it. Yes. Don't need JavaScript SVG. Delete it. Yes. Now that error message that you saw pop, you probably won't happen to you unless you have the Draw.io extension installed in VS Code. So I'm going to take this Vite SVG and delete it, and it's gone. Oh no, I want not rename. I want it gone. There. Delete. I love how they have rename and delete right next to each other. Going to have to go into my index and say, hey, don't use the Vite SVG because it's not there anymore. Use war. I'm going to not use any of these styles, actually. Gone in that. And I'm going to go to my main.js, and I'm not going to complete, I'm not going to, I don't want any of this code. This is all boilerplate code just for like a simple Vite sample setup, so you can see that Vite is working in that. So basically, this is what I want. So it's pretty cleaned up. If I collapse all these, yes, I've got my index, I've got my main.js, and my styles. Okay, cool. And so, did I blow anything up? This wouldn't hurt to start testing. Now, when you go up here, okay, one thing, if you don't see npm scripts here, go up to this little ... If you don't see npm scripts there, then the hack is to go to the package JSON, click in it, and when you see that kind of like little debug hint fly up, it means, hey, VS Code's now aware it's got one of these. Then you can go back here, and the menu choice usually reappears, and you can check it on. If that doesn't work, then go to the command palette, and that would be Control-Shift-P, and do this is already in my list, reload, I guess. Reload Windows, okay? Reload the window, and that should freshen it up. The thing what you're trying to do is a little GUI thing to run it. However, doing all that is avoiding you going node package manager, run the dev script, right? Hey, come in, I got some scripts, run this dev one. So all that to avoid typing this at the prompt. Sometimes it's just better get used to the prompt. It's faster. So I'm going to fire this up in that. Now you didn't see it, but on my other screen, someone popped up automatically. Now the big thing here would be, hey, let's just go over and inspect, look for errors. There's no little red X here with a count. Console looks clean. That means we haven't broken anything and that. So now for this next part to work, we are going to have to do some little CDN magic here. So up in the head, and I'm actually going to change this to, we'll call it maybe demo home. This is what it'll eventually be. This is part 1. I do need to add some links, some CDN links into Calcite components. Otherwise, I had to do some back-end hooks to make it happen in that. So I might have cheated a little bit. I put a little snippet in to get these in place in that. Separate video for how to do that. But those will drop in. Those are the links you want. And then so what we're going to do, again, it never hurts. Did I break anything? Nothing's broken yet. And what does it believe that it has, right? So if we go to elements, it's got expand body, it's got the script tag in it. Okay, so we'll keep watching that. So the first thing you want to do is the, I guess, Calcite, but sometimes there's so many Calcite. I know I'm after a thing called shell. Just go Calcite shell, and that put the angle bracket in there. That's the thing that we want. And do we have it, right? Well, we've got a Calcite shell, and it says that it's hydrated, so that's good. What I'm going to do actually is open up another solution to give you a pictorial view or a picture view of the shell. So in another VS Code window, I made some SVG graphics in that so that you can see kind of what the shell looks like. We'll see if we can resize it here. So you can kind of see it resizing, but it's to give you the idea that this is a Calcite shell and it's got these things called slots, and then you put content in those slots. One of the slots is header, which goes all the way across the top, and footer all the way across the bottom. And then usually inside this next part of the shell, where there's a panel start, often an action bar with some icons. Doesn't have to be. Another panel end if you want to have action bars on both sides. A panel top, a panel bottom, and then a default area, usually where your map goes. This center part looks very similar to an AWT border layout, also a Java Swing border layout in that. And these are SVG images being drawn in there and resized because they're scalable and that sort of thing. But it gives you an idea of what visually what those slots are. And I'm just going to close that tab for now because we don't need it. But this is the thing that we're dealing with, this Calcite shell, and it has these slots in them. So the thing is, can we see anything? We shouldn't be able to see anything really yet visually. We can't see anything. We know see it in the HTML that it's there. So we're going to add some more stuff. Usually we need a Calcite shell panel, and we'll put that into panel start, that thing, I guess, on the left. In that, so I'll just bring this back. We are going to be putting a panel in this slot here, just off to the left of the shell. In that. And again, sometimes, angle bracket, look for shell because it's a Calcite shell panel that I'm looking for. Angle bracket in, and that. Now, where do I want to put it, right? So that slot is called panel start, and that, so we'll go slot is equal to panel hyphen start. So in the beginning, you're going to be bouncing between here and the help page a lot to figure out what's the slot name again. And that after you do a couple, some of them start getting burned into your brain. And that there, we have a little gray area, right? We have, I didn't quite want that to happen. In that, we have this gray area showing up. So we have something there, right? And so if we expand this, we do have a Calcite shell in that shell panel in the slot of the Calcite shell. And so I'm going to look for something called, almost had it, action bar. So I want a Calcite action bar. Fantastic. Now, can I see anything? I can see a little bit of stuff in that, but it's not in the right spot, right? It's sitting way up here. But that's because we just got to put it in the right slot in that. And so it's going to go into a slot inside the action panel. It's actually got a slot called action hyphen bar in that. And so now when we slide across, there it is. Is it there? In all its glory. Open, collapse, open, collapse, open. So we like. So far, so good. I'm going to leave this in here. We'll solve it in the next video. In that, we're going to just keep working. And so what you often do is you put in Calcite action, right? Calcite action right there inside the action bar. In that, it's important that we give it, I guess, an icon. Is always important. And these are Calcite icons that you can find at the Calcite site. I think the one icon's called home. It's all lowercase. And we want some text to show up. Just so you know, right? Icons already showing up in that. I do need to get this a little higher. I'm going to need to shrink this down maybe a little bit. Yeah, and I'll just move it up there. And so no text yet in that. So we'll come back and we'll set the text on the icon. And that is home. So let's go bring that back and see. Okay, so we're getting there in that. So this is just a little thing, two things. One, to set up for the second video where we're going to actually add a map and add some code to that button so we know when it was clicked or icon in that. But the big thing here is how do you get it set up so we have the IntelliSense happening in that. This, introduce the slot concept and getting things in the right spot, and that. And right now I'm okay, right? I'm not sure if I do this in the second video. What I might do here is slide in some styles just in case. Sometimes things are fine, but they don't look right. They look off, or they're not landing in the right spot, and sometimes that's a cascading style sheet issue. So I'm just gonna, that's the wrong one I want. I want my other file manager with my snippets. And we'll just put these styles in place. Oh, I'm gonna have to go up. My snippets folder in that. It'll take a second. I'm off screen clicking on things. My mod 6 snippets, let's go. In that. So I have some snippets in here. The one I'm interested in right now is this one here. We'll drop that in. So I'm going to grab these and just put it in place for the second video because I can't remember if I already have that done. Another thing, oh yes, see how it's complaining in that? I'm going to comment out this line for now because I don't have the ArcGIS Maps SDK for JavaScript installed yet. So just control / whoops, almost had it. Control / it'll comment that out. Happier again in that. Another thing that comes up. So I find this is very important, setting this HTML body thing and all that. I also, this comes up in some of the examples and tutorials I've seen online, that they need the body to have a display of flex. And so we'll put that in so that we don't forget it. So display, it says inline, we'll just back it up and control spacebar, flex should be in the list, pick it off the list in that, just to set that up. Because sometimes you find, hey, like I don't have any errors in the console, but my layers list is coming after my map or after my Calcite shell Y when it should be popping inside. Sometimes that's just a style deal and that sort of thing. Now I'm over here saying, do I have any errors? It's complaining like, oh, you got lots. But this has been reloading, so let's do a quick refresh on this. Ah, no errors, good in that. So those were errors where I was changing stuff out, where I was looking for this style sheet that's not installed yet in that. But I think we're going to leave that there. That gets us set up with a base Vite install using Calcite components, where we have IntelliSense happening in the HTML. We can already see that our panel's starting to behave the way we want with the Calcite icons. There's still an issue to solve with this gray area. Why is it here? Spoiler alert, might be a docking issue versus a floating issue, so we'll take care of that in the second video. But that's all for now.